Good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Tigg, volume 74 for August 5th, 2018. Yeah, it's dark. Don't know why, just so hang on, let me turn on a light. I'm going to pause this and turn on a light, see if we get a little better lighting here. That's a little better, right? Okay, so if you want to know about my personal stuff, nothing has changed in a week. I still don't have internet. It's still my phone. I still have all the other problems I had last week. I've got them again today. It's still going on. I went and interviewed for that whopping $10 an hour job. It's 20 miles away and never heard back. So that's that. Now, when I talked to Bill after he watched this, he said he had a gun in his mouth most of the video, and yeah, I watched it again, and it was kind of depressing. And I understand, people have got to understand, I actually do have a life outside the sim racing world, and right now it's pretty damn shitty. But I am trying to get over that and get on and move on, and hopefully Monday I can get stuff taken care of. Maybe even get my internet back by the end of the week. Who knows? But we'll see. Anyhow, on to more important things, sim racing. I have discovered the 2014 IMSA Sports Car Champion Tutor mod. That's who was sponsoring at the time, and that's what it's called. I had it on my system, and I never touched it. I'm loving this mod. This is class racing. We have Daytona prototypes, GT LMs, GT Le Mans, and GT Daytona, GTD. All on a track at the same time, all racing together, all racing within class specifications. It's amazing. It's an amazing mod. It's a great mod. I've been running Daytona road course, of course. Wouldn't run that on the oval only, but when I started doing it, I was running 157s. Last night I ran a 153, so I'm actually 153.6. So I'm actually getting quite fast at it. And I'm going to take on a 2-hour endurance race for 2 whole hours. It's something I have never even done in my entire life. Even online, it was usually just an hour long race. It's going to be a 2-hour long race. The challenge is to start at the back and see how far I can get up. And I'm not driving a prototype. I'm driving a GTLM. A Ferrari, a 458 GTLM. So it's the middle class. It's not the upper class, it's not the lower class. It's the middle class of the 3 in there, and that's the one I'm going to be running to see how far I can get in a 2-hour race from starting dead last to wherever it ends. Hopefully to the in class, depending on wrecks and stuff, hopefully in the middle of my class, at least be middle. I'm driving I know I keep trying to take a sip of coffee and I keep talking. I'm driving with the AI at 90%. I don't think I can keep up with them on 100. I may test 100 before I do it, just to see how bad they run away from me. It's only 10%. I don't know how much stronger they would actually be, but I'm going to give it a whirl and see what happens. Right now, if you hear car engines and the noise, I actually have them running at Hallett. Just watching the AI run around, and I just watched a prototype. I didn't do a qualifying session for the cars, so I just watched a prototype run from dead last to 9th in his class, which is pretty interesting. So there's that. But it's a fun mod. I highly suggest you go out. If you do not have this, find it. I know Delta has a link to it, Delta Sim Racing. That's where I got it from, if I remember correctly. So thanks, Ziggy. Here I go with the coffee cup in my hand again. So that's that. I actually started painting up a car for it, and you really can't see it in this view here. Well, there's a good view. I'm gonna pull this out. I still have some things to figure out about the template. So, but that's the car. That's what I painted for myself. Of course, it's Bass out. I still have some things to fix on it. The template isn't very detailed, and I don't know where they're getting the back for the headlights are. So I can paint that white, but it kind of looks kind of cool. Red. No, I can't get this to hang up here right. Here we go. Yeah, I'm using my phone, so. There we go. That's better. Now you can see me. And I chop my head off. You see my hair thinning. That's me pulling it out. So that's that. That's what I'm doing in sim racing. I don't even know where I was going with that. That's all I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do some hot laps. You know, since I don't have my internet, it makes it harder to do. Actually, I had to download this track onto my phone and then transfer it to my computer. And you'll only get 25 gigs of data a month with my phone, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of downloading, especially mods. But I love this mod. Whoever made it, I don't remember. There's no README in it, of course. Imagine that. No README. Make a mod, please. Even if you steal the models from other sims, put a README in it, saying who you are. Hey, I gathered this stuff up, and if you don't get permission, get permission. You'd be surprised how many of these other mod makers say, hey, yeah, you can use it. And if they say no, then find somebody else. If you're just cobbling something together, and this isn't just cobbling together, they did a good job because the physics are pretty, the cars run the way they're supposed to run. I like the way they run. I like the way the car feels. They race, the AI race, so they did a good job with that. They actually race each other with 20% aggression and 90% skill level or whatever it is. They actually race each other. So it's a fun mod to watch. It's a fun mod to drive. And I don't normally watch racing because it's boring, because usually they just line up and just drive around the track. But these cars actually do race each other, and they pass and they bump and they wreck. Hallett's only a 1.7 miles or some 1.8 mile track. It's relatively short. Not sure as Lime Rock, where these guys are going back to. This is now the WeatherTech series, and they're going back to Lime Rock, which they haven't been to for a few years, and we all know how short Lime Rock is. And having 3 or 4 classes, I don't remember how many are actually in the actual series, but in this particular mod there's 4 classes, but I don't use one of them. I just use the prototypes and the 2 GT cars. There's another prototype one, but I don't use it because it's basically just one car with different paint schemes, and it's just, I like having, and I usually run it with, depending on the amount of pit stalls on the track, I like running 10 prototypes, 10 GTLMs, and fill the field with the rest of the GTDs, which is anywhere from 18 to 20 odd cars. I usually run with 39 AI cars on the tracks that have the 40, have the bigger, pit stalls. And I'm going to run this year's IMSA schedule, which is starting at Daytona, and then I'm going to do some off-the-wall tracks like this Halley, because it's just fun to drive. There's other tracks that are fun to drive. I love driving Brands Hatch, Donington. I may do a Mid-America or RPM or whatever you want to call it. Do one there, 2-hour endurance race. And that's what I'm going to race, 2 hours. Makes it more fun, makes it more interesting. 2 hours, you got to have a couple pit stops in there. Running at normal tire wear. I should run it at 2, so there's more pit stops and really shuffle up the field. Because I did watch Daytona, and they didn't wreck it. Watch 2 hours. Watched them run 2 hours. Watched them run 2 hours at Daytona. They didn't wreck in that particular one, but I did delete the hat, so they're not so on the wire. And they pretty much finished in class. Everybody wasn't mixed field finishing order. Took. Of course, the prototypes all finished 1 through 10, But then the GTLMs all finished 1 through 10, or 1 through 9, because I was the 10th one. And then of course the GTDs all finished, they all just finished in a row, and that was kind of boring, but it was still fun watching them race, especially there was 2 prototypes racing for the win, and last lap the guy who was leading and passing the other guy for leading decided to pit. So it didn't turn into a race at all for the finish, which I was hoping it was going to because the guy pitted. But anyway, yeah, fun mod. Go get it. It's the Tudor Challenge, Tudor Sports Car Challenge, or World Challenge, or something like that. There's a link at Delta Sim Racing for it. They run it online. If you race online, get a hold of those guys. Get with them. They're starting that back up again. They did a couple fun races earlier this year or late last year. I can't remember when it was. But yeah, I got 4 cars racing for position. So if you hear cars in the background, that's what you're hearing. These are GTDs running in the, So, get a hold of Delta Sim, Ziggy, and all those guys over there. Nice bunch of guys. Do this. This is one of the more fun mods I've had because you've got multiple classes. And you just don't have different cars with different power outputs in the same class like the NAGT mod and most of the other mods. I like the NAGT mod, and you can race that if you can figure out how to do an RFM or whatever the hell it is for R Factor to get the proto racers of the Sports Car Challenge and use the NAGT cars as your GT class, but they're still just one class and they all run basically the same. This particular mod has the 3 classes, and they run different speeds. And we've been over that. In GTR2, I think there is one. I have some older ones from 2007, 2008, I think, up to 2011, I think, but I've never actually taken those out and tested them. They're older, though, and I've heard, next off, this is from the, I've heard there's a newer version for GTR2, so I'll check that out eventually. I just like R Factor better. I mean, everybody says GTR2 is better than R Factor, but for some reason or other, I just like R Factor better. I don't think I've ever got my wheel hooked up correctly for GTR2, where R Factor I have. Actually, I just had to play with it a little bit. I've been driving it so much, my gas pedal, my throttle pedal is getting kind of worn out. 10-year-old wheel should be wearing out. So I had to up the sensitivity a little bit, and now it works fine. I actually drove that 153.6 with the weaker, without the adjustment, so I'm kind of anticipating going out there and running a little faster today. I'm going to try to do that endurance race. I'll post this, most of my stuff is over at Stenata's, everybody knows that's my sim racing home, so I will, if I run the race, I'll post a screenshot of at least the final finishing order where I finished at. So that's that. Look at that, 13 minutes in. And by the way, this is from when the wife and I went to go see the Impractical Jokers, which their actual name is the Tenderloins. A couple of years ago down in Des Moines, we got to see, if you ever get a chance to see these guys live, funnier than hell. And they show clips from the show that they can't show on TV. Funny stuff. One of the challenges, if you lose, was to eat dog shit. Murray had to eat dog shit. Of course, they didn't show that one on television, but he did, because it's part of the rules of the show, and they're true, is if you don't do the final challenge, or whatever they call it, you're off the show, you're out, you're off the, so he had to eat dog shit. Gross. Yeah. That was all part of that pet show. If you watch the show, have you ever seen the Pet Show Store 1? That was part of that deal. It was funny. It was hysterical. Anyway. Send your thoughts and prayers to me and my family. I'm asking for that at least, for things to start turning around for us. So I can get the stuff done I want to do, because this mod is a blast. This mod is, oh, well, there's a GT, he must have pitted. There was a prototype passing, so he must have pitted. I've been watching GTDs, like I said, and a prototype just went by, so he must have pitted. I don't even know what lap they're in. They're in half an hour into the race. But there you go. Anyway, get the mod, try it, race it, and do the class racing. Just don't race one class. Race race the three. I raced the prototypes, the GTLMs, and the GTDs. Yeah, 3 classes on there. There's 2 more. There's endurance, and then there's PC. PC is the one that's an open cockpit car, and there's already in the prototype. But the endurance, I don't even know. I think it's just the same guys, just mixed up. So go get it. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's not heavy frame rates. I'm at 129 right now on this particular track. So, yeah. Get it, drive it, love it, live it. R Factor, by the way, not R Factor 2. I don't think there's anything like this in R Factor 2. I don't think there's anything like this in Assetto Corsa or Project Cars, or, well, I know there is in GTR 2, but not GTL, excuse me. But R Factor, there is. Definitely not in NR2K. You can't do class racing in NR2K. I haven't even touched that sim in like 2 weeks. I have no desire for oval racing at the moment. I haven't even watched NASCAR in the last month. I may watch today, since they're at Watkins Glen, but I'm thinking I'm going to skip that too, because I'll be doing what I'm doing. Or I'll have it on in the background. Nice thing about racing offline is you can pause, take a break, get up and go pee, have a cup of coffee, relax, and then get back behind the wheel. Yeah, that makes it last longer than 2 hours. But anyway, I'm out of things to talk about, I think. Sim racing, do it, love it, live it, learn it, love it. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. It keeps me from doing things I shouldn't do. Like, no, just teasing, would never do that. I have grandbabies, or one grandbaby anyway. Anyway, I hope this one doesn't leave you with a gun in your mouth, Bill. I don't know. Anywho, smoke me a kipper. I'll be back for breakfast.